Our last short little video for organic chemistry focuses on biochemistry and macromolecules. Biochemistry is the chemistry of living things, so it combines biology with chemistry. The production of large molecules is endothermic, and the ultimate source of energy for here on Earth is the sun. Hydrogen bonding and molecular geometry are critical and very important in biochemistry. Now, most of the molecules we're going to talk about are called polymers. Poly means many, right? And what that means is that it's made up of smaller molecules called monomers. Biological molecules tend to be quite large. Well, there's three categories of polymers, and those are proteins, nucleic acids, and then polysaccharides or carbohydrates. Now, you know from biology class that there is a fourth macromolecule, and those are lipids. They're not polymers. I mean, yeah, they're big, but they're not polymers because they don't really have a monomer. They don't have a basic building block. Proteins have amino acids, nucleic acids have nucleotides, and so on. Lipids do have components, they're just not monomers. So we're going to take a look at each one of these macromolecules in turn. Proteins have many jobs in our body, including a component of tissue, catalyst for reactions, transporting oxygen, hormones, so many issues, so many important aspects of our body. Amino acids are the building block or the monomers of proteins. Each amino acid contains 4 parts, and you learned this a long time ago back in the day in biology. What you need to do is you need to focus on this central carbon, all right? Over here, you have a carboxylic acid group. Right there is a hydrogen. Right here is an amine. And then here is just some variable side chain. Again, we use R just to represent some side chain. It might be an H, it might be a CH3, it might be a really big, hideous, ugly thing. Just Google amino acids online and you'll see all the different pictures. Humans use 20 amino acids. We can make on our own 11 of those. 9 are called essential amino acids because we have to get them from our diet. Amino acids are chiral because that center carbon has 4 different groups attached to it. Now, interesting research is that there are a lot more amino acids in the plant kingdom. Between the 1950s and the 1970s, there was research done on the fact that plants have so many more amino acids than we humans use. And ironically, the research kind of fell off after about the 1970s. But what the research was getting at was, is it possible that some of these plant amino acids look very similar to human amino acids? And when we make proteins, is it possible we're pulling in the wrong amino acid so our protein doesn't quite take on the right shape? And is this what is causing autoimmune diseases? Some people do think that's what's happening. But again, the research just kind of fell off back in the 1970s for whatever reason, not really sure why. Me personally, I have an autoimmune disease, and I'm really hoping that they get back into this research. I think it could really lead to some development in autoimmune issues and maybe find some solutions that aren't even based in pharmaceutical. Maybe if you just eliminated those particular plants from your diet and didn't have those amino acids, maybe you would be healthier. I don't know. So the first thing I want you to remember is that the code for a protein is in DNA. DNA can't leave the nucleus, so we make what's called RNA. And RNA goes out to the ribosome where it's read 3 bases at a time. 3 bases code for an amino acid. An amino acid is brought in, and then another amino acid is brought in. They are then linked together by amide groups to make proteins. And if you look at that picture, you should see what's being removed, a water molecule. So we remove a water molecule and join these together. We call that bond a peptide bond. Again, that's a condensation reaction because we're removing the water molecule between the carboxylic acid end and the amine end, which makes sense. Carboxylic acid, amine as a base, pull out the water, and you've got them joined together. Now, to name these, we're not going to spend a lot of time on these, but there is a whole naming system. You change the carboxylic group ending to YL, and then you add the amino acid's name that has the amino group. We're not really going to stress on this though, but polypeptides are formed when large numbers of amino acids are linked together to form a protein. There are 4 levels of protein structure, and if you take AP Bio or college biology, you'll get way more into this. But that initial sequence of amino acids is just the primary structure. It's just a chain of amino acids. Secondary structure is how are those segments oriented in a regular pattern? And there's different kinds. You can see that in the picture called alpha helix. There's beta sheets. Then you get into the tertiary structure, or that 3rd level. And now you start getting into folding and more of what the shape should really be. And then the last stage is called the quaternary structure, the 4th structure. And this is made up of more than one polypeptide chain. Well, if the wrong amino acid gets put in, this affects all of these structures. And so when I was talking about before that there are some hypotheses that maybe some of us, like me, we incorporated the wrong amino acid from a plant into one of my proteins, because my doctors always told me, you got a protein that's supposed to be in your body, but your body doesn't think it should be there, and so it attacks it. Great. Well, if the wrong amino acid is pulled in, and I've seen research that shows 3 plant amino acids that look a whole lot like a human amino acid, I could see how they could accidentally get used instead of the right ones. If you bring in the wrong amino acid, it is going to change the shape. And so if your body is making a protein that does not have that correct shape it's expecting, your body is going to attack it. But again, if you take biochemistry or if you take biology, you'll learn a lot more about all that folding and how that occurs. Another macromolecule we have are the carbohydrates, the carbs. These all have the same basic formula. They all have CH and O in them. And then there's another little bit of a generic formula right there for you. A monosaccharide means 1 sugar. These are your simple sugars like glucose. It's the most abundant one. Fructose is found in fruit sugar. And for the record, those of you who know me, I'm on a very low carb diet that has really helped my autoimmune issue. And my doctor, who is a vegetarian, is the first one who shockingly told me, we don't need fruit. I was like, are you serious? He says, well, fruit is full of fructose. The only cells in our body that can metabolize fructose is the liver. So even though fruit's delicious, you don't need fruit. Shh, I didn't tell you that. Disaccharides, 2 simple sugars bonded together. This would be sucrose. This is the table sugar that we all have at home. You put it in your tea, your coffee, throw it in with your cake and brownies. Lactose is the sugar found in milk. And again, all of these are made up of 2 sugars. Polysaccharides, just like the name implies, it's a string of monosaccharides joined together. And it really depends on what the polysaccharide is as to the building blocks. Starch is found in corn, potatoes, wheat, rice. Glycogen is a starch-like substance that we make, and it's an energy bank. So when you take in too much sugar, you're going to store it as glycogen. So then if you're having, say, a hard weightlifting session, your body's going to tap into that glycogen and use it as a power source. And then plants have cellulose. It's the major structural component that gives them their structure because they don't have bones like we do. But carbohydrates, again, are one of the macromolecules. They are polymers because they're made up of building blocks, simple sugars. And I'm going to argue that you don't need carbohydrates in your diet. If one were to rank these macromolecules in order of importance, I would probably list nucleic acids first. Nucleic acids are polymers. They have monomers. They have building blocks called nucleotides. But nucleic acids contain the genetic information. 2 examples are DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, and then RNA, ribonucleic acid. There are 3 kinds of RNA. There is mRNA, that's messenger, tRNA, transfer, and rRNA, ribosomal. They actually help make up the ribosomes. All nucleic acids are made up of nucleotides, and each nucleotide has 3 parts. It has a 5-carbon sugar. DNA has deoxyribose sugar. RNA just has a ribose sugar. They all have a nitrogen-containing base, and you guys remember these from biology. A, T, G, and C, adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine, and then uracil. And I underlined or bold and italicized thymine and uracil to remind you that DNA uses thymine, RNA uses uracil. You will not find thymine in RNA, you will not find uracil in DNA. And they all have a phosphate group. So one nucleotide has a phosphate, a sugar, and then a base. Phosphate, sugar, and then another base. And those bases are attached to the sugar. Totally not scientific. I remember it because, sugars are sticky, and that's why the base sticks to the sugar. Whatever works, right? So you've got this backbone of phosphates and sugars. And over here you have a backbone of phosphates and sugars. And hanging off those sugars are the bases. And then those bases pair up. Recall from biology that A always goes with T, G always goes with C. I remembered it because at GC or AT&T, GMC, I know some of our middle school teachers use the phrase apples on the tree, cars in the garage. Do whatever you need to remember that. But you've got this phosphate sugar backbone, there's bases hanging off. So it's like a ladder. And the bases are the part of the ladder that you would step on, the rungs of the ladder. And then those two DNA strands are held together with hydrogen bonds and twisted into a helical shape. And again, I think it's very important because if we didn't have DNA, we wouldn't have any information to run our bodies and run our cells. Just to review, DNA is stuck in the nucleus. It can't leave the nucleus. So we make RNA, which goes out to the ribosomes, which gets read to make proteins. And proteins are vital for so many things in our bodies. Lipids are a macromolecule, but they are not a polymer because they are not made up of a building block, all right? They are nonpolar. We use these for long-term energy storage. Now, I mentioned earlier, I don't eat very many carbs at all. For me, for my body, I do the best. Sugar is very horrible on my arthritis. So I live pretty much on lipids and proteins. Lipids are long-term energy storage. And the nice thing about the way I eat is I often can do what's called intermittent fasting. I can go for longer periods of time without being hungry. The main component of biological structures that involve lipids are phospholipids, you've heard of that with cell membranes, and waxes. These don't have a monomer, but they do have pieces that build them up. And one is a glycerol molecule. And then you have fatty acids that come off of that. The glycerol is an alcohol with 3 OH groups. And the fatty acids are carboxylic acids. And so they obviously attach to those OH points. So you have a glycerol with the fatty acids kind of hanging off. Saturated fats or solids at room temperature. A great example is butter. Yummy. And then you have the unsaturated fats, and that means that you've got the double or the triple bonds going on, and that changes the shape of them, and they don't have as many hydrogens as possible. Some good examples of unsaturated fats are oil or peanut oil. They tend to be liquids at room temperature. And I already mentioned the phospholipids. Those are the key components to cell membranes. Monounsaturated is a term you probably have read on a nutrition label. It means that there is one double bond. Polyunsaturated, there's more than one double bond. Then the evil one are the trans fats. Well, sometimes in manufacturing of foods, they want to take a unsaturated fat that is a liquid and they want to make it solid so that they can use it in like a granola bar or something. And those are called hydrogenated fats. Well, a lot of times in this process, they don't turn out exactly the way they wanted to, and that shape turns out differently, and you get what's called a trans fat. And those trans fats are not nutritionally required. In fact, a lot of governments have or are trying to ban them. You really should limit your exposure to trans fats. So as much as I love lipids and I live on them, trans fats, not a good idea.